Hi, I'm Michelle Patterson. I'm the area manager for the TACT West Midlands team. And we've just organised this event really to talk about fostering and what it entails and to answer any queries or questions that you may have. So feel free to drop us a text on 07563 021 725 or use the live chat box on the screen, and we'll have a look at the questions come through and we'll ask and answer them for you. So my title is, like I said, I'm area manager, and I've been with TACT now for 12 years. So what I'm going to do is get the rest of the team to introduce themselves as well. So if we start with you, Caroline.
Hi, I'm Caroline. I'm a senior supervising social worker. I've been with TACT for 16 years now.
Okay. Natalie.
Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm the family finding worker for the West Midlands region. I've been with TACT now for 18 months.
And Sammy.
Hi there, I'm Samantha. I'm from the West Midlands team. I'm a foster carer and I've been with TACT since 2003-4, with a couple of years break.
Okay, thank you all. Okay, so today we're going to look at, what is fostering and why choose to foster for TACT, and the foster carers looking at the foster carers that we need and where we're recruiting currently. And just to give you a bit of a good feel about what we offer our foster carers in the West Midlands, really, and what our service is all about. So, like I said, feel free to drop a question in the chat box or text us the question to 07563 021 725. Okay, so I'm going to kick off with what is fostering. There's different types of fostering. You can be a respite carer, which basically that's when you're caring for looked after children, maybe for a weekend or a day or even just one night. And then we've got short-term fostering that can last from anything from 1 week to 2 years, depending on what the circumstances are for those children. And then we've got long-term fostering, which means that young person will be with you until they reach the age of 18 and maybe beyond, if you want them to stay on as a staying put placement. So there's lots of varieties of fostering that you can get into. There's also child and parent fostering, which is when you look after a young mom who's had a baby and you might need to do an assessment of her parenting skills, to enable her to then go on and care for her child. So that's the different types of fostering. We have variety of ages, really, age range from 0 to 18 years of age. Lots of sibling groups as well that need fostering, teenagers in particular. And basically, you're providing a high level of care in meeting their needs and, helping them adjust to what's happened to them and overcome the trauma that they may have been, exposed to, over that period. The children come into care for many reasons. It could be down to neglect. There's 4 forms of neglect, which is emotional, physical, sexual, and what's the other one, ladies? Emotional, physical, sexual. What's the other one? Is it just the 3 types? It is 3 types, isn't it? Emotional, physical, sexual. Yes, well, that's it. Yeah. Sorry. 3 types. I'm sorry, I'm all confused here. This is the first time we're actually doing this live, so my apologies. And they may come into fostering due to, a parent being ill and needing to go into hospital. They may be coming into care because the mum or the dad or the carer are not able to meet their needs if their behaviours are complex. So there's a variety of reasons, really, why children end up in care. It may be also that they're seeking asylum in this country as well. So that's a variety of reasons as to why the children we have come into care. So we're going to move on now to why choose tact. And Sammy, you're going to help us with this section, aren't you?
Yes, that's fine. I personally chose tact for a couple of reasons. First of all, the most important to me was that it was a non-profit making organisation, and it's very charitable. That was important because obviously outside world there is lots of organisations out there who are actually just wanting to make a profit out of it, and it's not about that. It's about the children themselves and supporting them through a therapeutic approach, of getting back involved in normal life. To do that, TAC themselves pride themselves with fabulous social workers like Caroline and many others, including my social worker Lackraj, who I could actually call at any time of day without actually worrying that I'm bothering them about anything. And I think that experience from those social workers is what actually helps me be the perfect foster carer for the children who I look after at the moment. Natalie, although I haven't met Natalie before, I know from her position she's very much looks after caring for the matches. And when I was matched with my current placement, although we're not from the same country, we were very suitably matched, and I'm sure Natalie would actually do the same for everybody else, and I'm sure she prides herself in her job. The training what we actually receive is second to none, and I've worked in training for many years. But they do skills to foster. They have therapeutic pace, and it's all the specialist side of the training of which you need. And it doesn't matter as well, whatever training you get, nothing could actually ever compare to be a foster carer, because it's also a mindset. It's one of the best jobs you could ever actually have, and it's not perceived as a job for me. They're my family. And that's something what's important, that tact are part of that family as well. We're not seen as the social workers. The social workers know they're our friends and they're there to support us. We have plenty of support groups as well, whether it's either parties or get-togethers for the children, for us as also foster carers. There is also fees and allowances, which are very, again, orientated towards the children, not towards a profit. The access to a lovely lady, Linda, our child resource worker, she's amazing. She sends the children on various different trips. She'll come out and speak to them. She'll come out and take them out somewhere. They'll go on residentials. Wow. They love it. They love her, even to the degree where one of my young ladies actually wrote a beautiful letter to her. And I believe that letter is going to get used for other children to actually read and see. And that's what TACT is about. It's about not just as an organisation, it's child focus. They've also got an education department, which is very supportive should you have any special educational needs children who actually need more specialist knowledge. They're there to support us. And also TAC Connect, which are there for care leavers who have been through the system and they are needing that additional support, whether it's a mentor or whether they're actually going to be there to help beyond being in care. So, there's no reason why they wouldn't be able to be in contact in the 30s. And actually those children who then become adults would be a very good mentor for other children for TACT. And that's TACT. Brilliant.
Thank you, Sammy. Thank you. And I've actually remembered the word that I couldn't remember. It's neglect. So I apologize.
Did you say neglect?
Did I say neglect?
Yeah.
You did, yeah.
Neglect, emotional, physical. Oh, right. Okay. My apologies. Getting all confused. Okay, Natalie, shall we move on to you? Foster carers we need?
Yeah, so During June, we received a total of 562 referrals from our various local authorities, including Birmingham, Wolverhampton, Walsall. The majority of our referrals actually during the month of June came from Birmingham, followed closely by Wolverhampton and Walsall. So most of the referrals coming through at the moment are for teenagers aged 13 and above, sibling placements and parent and child placements. Some of the behaviours of the children, they can have ADHD, autism. We do get a few referrals as well for children with disabilities. And some of the children, as pointed out earlier, could actually come from a neglectful environment and may have also witnessed certain things within the home environment. Yeah, some of the referrals, sorry. Some referrals do ask for experienced carers, depending on the needs of the young person. And some of them ask for therapeutic placement for that young person to reside in. So again, it's a variety of referrals that we do get coming through.
Can I just interject there, Natalie?
Yeah.
You know how some of the referrals request that the carers have experience. Sometimes we have new carers that may have had similar experiences from their own children or worked in that field. So you're still able to contact them to discuss the referral.
Absolutely. We wouldn't just rule them out, if they haven't got that experience.
Yeah.
I think the therapeutic experience as well, TACT have done fabulous training regarding that. And they currently use the PACE method, which is playfulness, acceptance, curiosity, and I'm wondering why these situations are happening, and empathy, and just the simple words of I get it, I understand. And these kids, they need that. They need to understand that we care. So that you might not know this therapeutic approach, but it's very easily taught. And it's
very embedded, isn't it, in what we do on a daily basis. And we're confident in the support package that we can offer you in regards to the training, the therapeutic training, but not just that. Your supervising social workers are all trained therapeutically as well. And like I said, they're on the end of a phone. Once we finish at 5:15, there's an out of hours service that's 24/7. Christmas Day, every day of the year. So the support is definitely there. And what we can also do is identify support that is outside of TACT and get people involved like that. So you're never on your own. That support package is there. I think if you're coming into fostering, you've got to be realistic in the type of children that you're prepared to look after, because you're never going to get that that brilliant, well-behaved child. They're always coming with some sort of trauma that may affect them in certain ways, and that may be that it's affected them severely and their behaviour is affected them, and then others might just need that emotional support. So you never really know what you're having come through the door. But if you are coming into fostering just for a perfect child, then you're coming into it for the wrong reason. You've got to be prepared to kind of work with children that are displaying some challenging behaviours or do need that little bit more support, emotional support, and basically, tender love and care, really, and understanding.
Can I add to that, Michelle? I'd say a lot of our foster carers came in with a view of what's going to fit in with their family, where they feel their skills lie, what children they feel they'll be well able to look after. And a lot of our carers have ended up caring for children who weren't what they thought was going to work with their family. They've been something they might have thought they prefer little ones, and actually they've cared for a teenager and it's worked really well. And so I'd say you need to be open, really, and don't block off your thoughts about what's going to work for your family, because like Michelle said, we are there to support and train you to be able to care for the variety of children that we're going to have coming into our service. If you can be as open as possible, taking on board your experience yourself, but you don't always have to have that specific experience for that particular child to be able to care for them.
Yeah, we will be there to support any gaps that you may have. So.
And you've also got to remember, even if if you thought that you wanted to actually only look after young children, those children are going to grow up. They're going to be teenagers. So start off with the teenagers. You know what's going to come in, and then that helps you as well to develop those children of how you want to help mould them. And it is about moulding. It's about modelling. It's them recognising your behaviour and then carrying that forward as well, because if you want them to behave in a particular manner, you've got to be supporting that way and let them help and watch you. And if you want manners, you've got to use manners.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Sammy. And some people think that they don't want teenagers because teenagers are the most troublesome ones, but actually the younger ones can display just as much challenging behaviours, as the teenagers.
Yeah.
And actually the teenagers are probably more easier to communicate with and get through to.
They're a lot more independent. They like to have their own lives going on.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. So, we're not saying that all children that come through have got challenging behaviours, because some of them haven't. Some of them are a breeze, and they just, like I said, they just need that tender loving care. So don't let, I hope we're not putting you off.
I've been supporting 2 children now, one that I've been supporting since they were 3 days old, and one from when she was 4 months old. So that shows that we do have babies and young children coming, and they're still with our families. So that's a real success story.
That's right. And the majority of our teenagers end up staying with our carers under staying put arrangements. We've got lots of success stories where that's concerned. The one's going off to a media college in Bristol. She'd be doing acting and things like that. So lots of success stories where teenagers are concerned as well.
And I think some notes I've got here regarding from one of my foster daughters at the moment. Her keywords are: you've got to be a good listener. You've got to be amazing. You've got to be loving. You've got to be loyal. But more important, you've got to be resilient.
That's right.
And that's from a young lady. So, but more importantly, I'd say, is you've got to give them that care and time, because that's what they've never had.
That's right, isn't it? We do a lot of work with the children around what their likes are, what their dislikes are, and they have, they come up with. We always have key performance indicators for ourselves and the kids, but we never have any for the carers. So they was able to come up with a list of things that they see in carers, and one of them being a good listener was one of them. Treating them the same as their own children, being there for them, being there to advise and support, and not to basically give up on them was another one that they said. So yeah, it's their voice, the children's voice, is very important to us. So we try and integrate that into everything that we do. So that's always it's always good to listen to their views. Yeah. So shall we go on to you, Caroline? What do you need to become a foster carer?
Yeah. Okay. So just the minimum really is that you must have a spare bedroom. So foster children aren't allowed to share bedrooms with any birth children. Foster children, if they are siblings, they may on occasion be allowed to share a bedroom if it's big enough, if there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to, but that doesn't always happen. And you have to be aware that if they do share as younger children, they're going to grow up and they're going to need a room probably each as they grow older. So you need to think about your housing situation. You must be over 21 years old. And we have had some young carers, haven't we, Michelle? Were they 20? Yeah. They were in their 20s when they began to foster. So we have had carers that young who've come to us. It's not it doesn't happen every day, but it does happen. You must be a full-time UK resident, or you must have indefinite leave to remain. And the reason for that is these children need stability. Obviously, they need carers that are going to be with them and are not suddenly going to have to leave the country for any reason. So that's why that is required, and you'd have to show evidence of that if that's your situation. And many people will rule themselves out wrongly. I think because in years gone by, they've heard that you can't foster if you're over a certain age, or if you're single, or if you're not heterosexual. So I just wanted to let you know that that's not the case. And we are looking for people from all backgrounds and who have all different life experiences. So we do need people of diverse backgrounds to reflect our diverse society. So your age, your sexuality, your relationship status are not necessarily barriers to fostering. We have currently a variety of carers of different ages, cultural and religious backgrounds, relationship status and sexuality. So, we are looking to recruit carers from diverse backgrounds.
Can I add into there, Caroline? Don't forget age.
Yes.
My husband's 63.
Yeah.
So you're never too old.
No. If you're thinking about your age and wondering if you're maybe too old to foster, it's not about your age. It's about your basically, are you going to be physically able to foster? Are there going to be any barriers, etc.? Applicants would undergo a medical with their GP to make sure that you are fit and healthy to do so. So it's not about those factors of your life. It's about your ability to be able to care for the children appropriately. Just going on as well, people sometimes worry about if they have a police record, for instance. People might have things on their police record from when they were kids, teenagers, when they've done silly things. Again, it's not necessarily always a barrier, but we need to know about it. If you're upfront and honest with us, we can work with that, and we'll be able to tell you straight whether it's going to be a barrier to you fostering or not.
Can I just interject there, Caroline? Yeah. Sorry. Some people often think that they can't if they have got a criminal record, but I think during the assessment process and being a foster care, and that then now is the time to turn that negative into a positive, because you're able to relate more. Sometimes, depending on what it is, you're able to relate more to the children and where they come from, especially the teenagers, if they are displaying offending behaviours. Sometimes you'll be able to relate to that given your own experiences of it.
Yeah, exactly. Don't discount your life experiences as being a barrier, because it actually might be the thing that will make you much more able to understand what these young people are going through. So, but like I said, you've got to be honest and open with us and tell us from the start so that we can tell you whether it's going to be a barrier to you fostering. What else can I tell you? So, basically, like we've been saying, what we really need are people who are going to be willing to accept children for who they are, who are honest and open, who are willing to learn, take on advice, to understand children's backgrounds, where they've come from, why they might behave in certain ways, be empathetic, like Sammy was saying, just be patient and calm, and most importantly, be an advocate for these children. Often they haven't had people who take their side and speak up for them. And that's going to be your job as a foster carer, and breaking down any prejudices and discrimination that they encounter as well. Again, just going back to matching, if you're coming into this thinking about, the perfect blonde-haired, blue-eyed little girl about 6 years old, it's not going to happen. So if you can put aside those thoughts from the start, then you're in a much better position, and you're opening yourself up to help a number of children. I think that happens naturally as carers go through their career as fostering anyway. You realise once you're in it that actually there's loads of kids out there that we can help. And as you gain your skills and experience over the years, there's more and more children that you can help. And you might say, do you know what, I fancy trying something a little bit more challenging. And you might choose, when Natalie phones you up and says, oh, I'm not sure if you'll be interested in this referral, you might say, do you know what, Nat? Yeah, I am interested. Mm-hmm. So you can take that forward. So your your skills, your experience, and your confidence is going to grow through the years. So what you set out with at the beginning is not where you're going to be in 6 years. Would you agree, Sam?
Yes. I think when I started out, my original wishes and feelings was, yes, I'd like the little ones, and you know, the various different children who have come through, and every single one is different, and each one you think, oh, I'll follow this route, I'll follow that, and it's like, forget all that. It's base it on what the child themselves need. You know, I've been on a football pitch more in my life in the last couple of years than I've ever had. You know, I've even known the offside rule. You know, sometimes I go, yeah, you know, and things like that, and little things with the children where, you know, you're there. If there's something not quite right, and you pick up on it, and it's different to looking after your own children. Your own children will go, well, you didn't do that with me. And which my daughter, as you know, says on a regular basis, and I go, no, because we're working with children who need that additional support, those, you know, I'm wondering moments, and that's quite important to these children, for them to be, you know, understood, and listened to.
We don't expect you to know it all. We know that's not the case. It's like when you start any job, you don't know it all, and you become good at it as you go on. So we don't expect you to know everything. What we expect is that you work with us, you take on the advice, you attend the training that we recommend for you, and you know, you listen to us, and you just ask for support, ask for help. That's what we're there for. So you know, you might think, I haven't even got children, I haven't worked with children, but it's really something I want to do. That's fine. We can work with that. It's about your abilities and your ability to grow and learn, really. I just wanted to say something else as well, because when Natalie phones up our foster carers and says, right, I've had a referral, it's a piece of paper about this child or young person. That's not the child. You know, it's information about that child, and it's information taken from their past. It's information from when they've lived with their birth families in like horrendous situations. It's information when they've lived with other foster carers that might not have worked out too well. So you need to take that on board, but don't let that be the full picture you make of that child, because they could come to you and absolutely flourish because of the care you're going to give them, which might be completely different to what they've experienced before, and it's that makes the difference. So don't make a judgment, a snap decision on information that's down on paper about these children, because I know a number of carers who've said, gosh, they're so different to what Natalie read to me, and that's true. And I'd say give the children a chance to get to know them yourself, and you will be the ones who know them best, because you'll be living with them 24/7. That's the other thing. You have to be prepared. This is a 24/7 job, 365 days a year. Although you can ask for short breaks if you need to, we do try and we try and promote that child is treated like a member of your family, so they go on holiday with you, etc., etc. That's not saying, as parents, as carers, that you don't need a break. Yes, you do, and some carers need it more than others, depending on the children's behaviours. But you need to be prepared that your life's going to change, just as it would as when you have your own children. So you need to be prepared for that. Don't come into fostering lightly. Okay, I think that might be Michelle.
Yeah, that's fine, Cal. I'm just going to talk a little bit more about the TACT West Midlands team and what we're all about, really. I view our foster carers as part of the team. I couldn't do what I do without them, and they couldn't do what they do without us. So I see us all very much as a team, and I like to keep in contact with my carers just to get their feedback and advice on if things aren't running properly, and they see an opportunity to say, well, Michelle, if you did it this way, or can we have this, or can we have that? I'm very open to having those discussions with our foster carers. So I see our foster carers very much as part of the team. We have a fantastic training available. As Sammy mentioned, some of that is therapeutic training, the PACE training. We have a gentleman called Matt Lewis, who is our therapeutic support. He leads on that training, which is absolutely fantastic. And he also runs what we call attachment clinics each month, where we take a family and the child to the clinics to discuss that child's background and what support we can put in place. The social worker and the school usually attend those clinics as well. So we're very, very much a therapeutically run agency. We also have training online as well, so to make it more easily accessible. So you don't have to even leave your house to do the training that we need you to do. You can do it all online. We are looking at doing some face-to-face training, because we know that carers do prefer the face-to-face, and I think you actually get more out of the face-to-face training, but it's flexible, so you can do both really. We have a foster carer rep, Yvonne. She organises the support groups for the carers, and we do encourage you to attend those, because it's nice to meet up as carers and just to share your experiences, you know, not always to offload about the children and stuff. Sometimes you just need that time to yourself where you can have a coffee and a chat.
And a biscuit.
And a biscuit, that's it. That's right. So support groups are running often. We recognise that sometimes single carers might need that extra little bit of support. So we've got another support group for single carers. And once you are approved, we buddy you up with another carer, just so you don't feel like you're on your own, because sometimes you will be without placements, and it might take a while for you to have a child placed with you, and we don't want you to feel left out the loop. So we buddy you up with another foster carer that you can, you know, talk to whenever you want, really, and just to share how you're feeling. So that's something that's gone down really, really well. Sammy mentioned our children's resource worker, Linda, who is absolutely fantastic. She organises the outings for the children. We've got a residential coming up in Wales in a couple of weeks, in August. And that always goes down well. She takes them on trips to Go Ape, Drayton Manor, lots of different physical activities. But she also does one-to-one work with the children. So if we are struggling with a child's, you know, behaviour or bond with a foster carer, she can go into the house and do some one-to-one work with them and try and work around that. We've just recruited 2 other sessional CRWs as well, just to offer that extra support. So there's lots of things going on, you know, for the carers, for the children. And yeah, I think that we were able to offer you a good package of care that's going to enable you to care for the children, and also for you to develop as foster carers, so you enjoy it, because it is very rewarding, and you know you can make that change in that young person's lives. So yeah, so we're here, like we said, here to support you 24/7. So yeah. No questions yet. Has anyone got any questions? Just go ahead and type it in the chat box, or call the number at the bottom of the screen. Caroline, if we go on to the fostering process.
Yes. So obviously at the moment you're just possibly thinking about fostering and what it entails, and whether it's for you. So the first real step of taking the next step would be what we call an initial inquiry. So you would speak to one of the staff members in our inquiry team for an informal chat, and that's to ask any questions you've got, but also some basic questions about yourself. We would be asking you some basic questions, and that's really our first kind of screening to see whether you're going to be suitable and to see whether it's what you thought it's going to be. So if after that initial inquiry you're happy to proceed to the next stage, then the next thing would be called an initial visit. So this is where the visit would be carried out virtually, and it's carried out by an inquiry team member, and it's a bit more in-depth conversation, and it's about exploring a little bit more about yourselves, a little bit more about your skills, your values, etc. And again, it's about you finding out a bit more about the children that you might be caring for. And again, it's a screening process. If after that you're not interested, we feel it's not for you, or if we feel that you're not suitable, then that's when the process would end. At that stage, we would be looking around your house to see if it's safe for fostering. If it's not, we'd be able to tell you there and then. If it's just some things that need to be done, that could be done quite easily, then we'd agree that needs to be done before we could take the process any further. The next stage, if all that goes well, would be we'd invite you to a 3-day course, which is called the Skills to Foster course. Again, it's done virtually at the moment, and if you are a couple, then we would request that both of you attend that course, because you can't do fostering in isolation. You do it as a family. But certainly, if you're going to be a fostering couple, you both need to attend that training course. That will give you much more in-depth information about what fostering is going to be like, how it's going to impact your lives, some of the minimum, like starting things that you need to know about what training you're going to be undertaking, etc. You'll learn about different types of abuse, that kind of thing. That course can be quite emotive, and a lot of people say at that stage, it's not for me, it's not what I thought it was going to be, it's too upsetting, it's, and that's fine. And people drop out sometimes at that stage, and that's absolutely fine. Again, it's a course, you're not tied into anything, it's just another way of finding out whether it's going to be right for you or not. I think we still have foster carers who attend that training course to share their experiences with you. You need to hear it from foster carers, because they're the ones who do the job, not the social workers. We support them, but the foster carers are doing the job themselves. So yeah, you attend the 3-day training course, and at the end of that, if you're still committed and you still want to do the fostering and we're still happy with you continuing, then you will go on to the next stage, which would be your application and assessment stage. So this is when you'll be formally invited to apply. So you'll fill in an application form, and then you'll be allocated a social worker who will work with you to complete a detailed assessment on your suitability to become a foster carer. So the assessment is called a Form F assessment. It's very, very detailed, and it takes several months. People are quite shocked when we tell them how long the process is, but when you're in it, you can understand why it takes so long. So social worker will come out to your home, or they'll do it over virtual where possible as well. And they'll be doing some quite in-depth sessions with you that last usually maybe 1.5 to 2 hours. We'll talk about your upbringing, your past relationships, your attitudes, your values, your experiences, your relationship, if you're in a relationship at the moment, and the positives about that, and if there are any worries about that relationship that could hinder you fostering. So yeah, it's very, very in-depth, and like I said, it will be with both people if you're fostering in a relationship. And whilst all that's going on, there will be background checks that are being done, so police checks, mortgage checks to make sure you're financially stable and that you're not likely to lose your home anytime soon. If you've got birth children, it will be checks with your children's school, maybe health visitors if your children are under 5. So there's all sorts, and your medical, like I mentioned earlier, you have a medical check to make sure you're fit and able to fit to foster. So there's a lot that goes into it, and it takes a long time for the two to get knitted together, and then it gets written up into a big document called your Form F assessment. So this Form F assessment, you'll get to read it and agree with what's written in it. And if you don't agree with some things, then obviously that needs to be discussed with your social worker. And once that's all been clarified, this Form F assessment will be sent to what we call a fostering panel. So the panel is a group of individuals who are all independent of TACT. So we have people from health backgrounds, education backgrounds, social work backgrounds, police, all different professionals, but they are all independent of TACT. So they are there to make a decision about whether you're fit to foster, completely separate to TACT. We don't make that decision, it's the panel. So once the panel have read your Form F, you'll be invited to attend that panel meeting. They might have some questions for you. You can ask the panel any questions you want to. And on that day, they'll give you what they call a recommendation. So if they recommend that you're approved, that's great. And that recommendation will then go to an individual in our organisation called an agency decision maker. He has the final say. He rubber stamps all the Form F assessments. So as long as he agrees it, then once that comes back, which is about 10 days after your panel meeting, then you'll be approved foster carers for TACT. Sometimes things don't go to plan and the panel might feel that some more information is needed, so you might not be approved on that day. Excuse me. And it might be that you need to just go away and do some extra bits of work with the supervisor and social worker, and your Form F could maybe come back to another panel. But it shouldn't get to the panel stage with any major issues in it, because all the way through it will have been monitored by a manager. So usually, I'd like to think, most of our Form Fs that go to panel are approved. Okay, so that's the assessment and approval stage. And panel and approval.
Okay.
So yeah. Do you want to carry on, or?
No, that's fine, Caroline. Thank
Okay.
you. Okay. So Sally, what's been your highlights of your fostering career? What would you say to people thinking about fostering?
I'd say my highlights, first of all, my gosh, there's so many. I could actually, I could be online now for 4 days minimum. There is so many, from the firsts, what the children may do, to the smile all of a sudden out of their eyes, the little things where you can be walking along and they just hold your hand just out of the blue. And that's them feeling safe. If they're holding your hand, you're a stranger to these children from the beginning, and it takes somebody special like me to get out there and do it. And I never thought I would be able to be a foster carer, and now 18 years later, I'm still here, and it's about those special moments on the sidelines and cheering because my lads just won their cup. Going to the presentation, and I'm there and I'm going, that's my lad, because yes, I might not be his birth mum, but I am his mum. I'm there for him all the time. My little girls, they're in the mirror, they're dancing, they're smiling, they're squealing, and they're precious moments. And they're in the garden and they're talking, they pretend talking, and some of the conversations you're going, oops, that's me, oops, that's me. And so many people say they're like mini me's, and it is, and it's just those moments like that which are precious. One young lady, sending her on a day to a prom, deciding on prom dresses. Oh my goodness. I went to 15 different shops, but that was a special moment for her and for me. So you could talk about this for hours and days, and it's just about helping those children to have a normal everyday life like every other child's entitled to. Yeah. So if you can do that, and if you don't have to be special, I was in the care system. That was another reason why I actually wanted to give back, because there was a special lady in my life who actually helped me. And if it wasn't for that lady, I don't think I would have come through this. And it doesn't matter whether you're old or young, fat or thin, doesn't matter what colour skin you are. If you've got a heart, you've got that patience, just reach out, just try, and that's the most important thing. Just try, because there are thousands of children who need those homes.
Yeah, and I'd say you might not think you're doing much, but you are really transforming that child's life to what they have come from. So I can recall quite a few carers, and one of the biggest special moments for them was the child being invited to a birthday party of someone in their class, because that had never happened before, because when they were living at home, they stuck out like a sore thumb because they were so neglected and were missing from school a lot, and their behaviour was, not the best. So people didn't want to be friends with them. And then suddenly, when their life has changed and their care has changed, they've been accepted by their peers, and that for some carers is the big thing. That's a success story, when they've been accepted by the children in their class as the same as them.
Yes. And you've got to remember, some of these children, they're going to come back, they're going to come to you with bin bags of smelly clothes. They're going to come to you with nits in their hair. It could be everything like that. But that child still just needs a home, love, routine, boundaries. And that's what we're here there for. And if you get that call in the middle of the night at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and you have to sit at the end of the bed, then sit at the end of the bed. I sit on the floor, and I've got a hand up in the air, and I'm holding their hand. And if that helps them go back to sleep, for them to have a normal life, that's what you would do for your own birth children. So it's the same for these children, and they need that. They need that support.
That's right. Thank you very much, Sammy. Okay. So just to summarise, really, we are looking for carers in and around the West Midlands, Walsall, Coventry, Sandwell, Dudley, Birmingham, all over, really. We're looking for carers from different diverse backgrounds, different ages, different religions. You just need to have, like Sammy said, have the heart and the willingness and patience to work with us, and just to kind of reach out and help these young people that we have coming into our care. There's a question from Joe via text. Just want to know your thoughts about fostering can lead to adoption. Fostering can lead to adoption on some occasions, depending what the care plan is for that children. So for that child, so basically what the plan is for that child, whether it's going to be long-term fostering or adoption or return to birth. On occasions, not very often, but on occasions, they do start off as short-term fostering, and that which leads on to adoption. At that point, the foster carers can be considered for adoption, or they may have already found adopters for that child or baby. So it depends on that child's circumstances. So yes, sometimes fostering can lead on to adoption.
Yeah, we have had cases where the child's plan has changed. They're definitely not returning home, and it's felt best that they need to be out of the care system. And because the carers have cared for them for maybe 1 to 2 years, it makes sense for them to stay with that family. So you're in a good position if you have fostered the child and their plan changed to adoption, and that's what you want to do. You are in a good position because you're already looking after them. They're already in your family.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe. Okay.
I've got a little thing which I think, this is written from one of the children. Out of my, I'm not going to say years of life, I have met a lot of people. I have never met anyone so kind, caring, and heartwarming, positive, respectful, helpful, resilient, like you and your family. Even though I might not show my appreciation, I'm very grateful that you have accepted me into yours and your family's life. I'm grateful for everything that you have done for me. You have fought for me from day one. and you have always been by my side. You are here for me, to love me, and more important, you've made me love myself and have confidence, and I believe I can do anything now. I want you to put I want it to be, I put my mind to everything I can do now, and that's all because of you and your family. You made me who I am, and today I love you and your family very much. I'm very proud to call you my family. And that's from a very young lady, and that just shows how much difference you can actually make to those children's lives. So just make that call, get in touch with TACT, and believe TACT is one of the best you can actually go to. Just come, give us a call.
Thank you, Sammy. That's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is absolutely lovely.
Sorry if I've got you in tears. Sorry.
No, choked up there. Yeah, no, thank you for that. And thank you all for joining us today. If we have any other questions, just pop them in the chat box or text it to 07 563 01725. Yeah, like I said, we're looking for foster carers all over from different backgrounds, etc. I think for me, one of the reasons why I've stayed with TACT for so long is because of the good work that we do with the children and how we are able to support the foster carers. Another thing that I really like and goes well with my values is the fact that we are a non-for-profit making organisation, meaning that, you know, all our profit goes back into the organisation, whereas with other IFAs, you've got all the big bosses at the top with their fingers in the pots and making money basically off children's, you know, lives that haven't been that nice. So yeah, for me, that's a very big thing for me, the fact that we are a charitable organisation. And I'm confident that we're able to support foster carers and young people. And it's not, for me as a manager, it's not about getting bums on beds, as we call it, for money, for profit making. We pride ourselves on matching the children to the carers, to offer them that stability, because a lot of children get pushed from pillar to post in the care system. We try to avoid that as much as we can, and that's where the support from your supervising social worker comes in, and the training and the therapeutic support that we offer, that offers an all-round stability and a secure base for yourself and the children to thrive from.
And sometimes these children might not stay with you, but it's, you know, at least they've still will then move on within TACT, and TACT will be actually there to support them. And that's, again, you've got to remember, you know, these children have had traumatic backgrounds, so you want to have the support there for them no matter what age they are.
Yeah,
I'd just say as well, you've heard a lot of information today. You don't have to remember everything. We can always share the information with you in various different ways. And like I said, you're not expected to know everything. We'll walk you through every step of the way, so don't worry about that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for attending and taking the time out to listen to our first actual live stream. Hopefully I'll be a little bit better next time, but I hope you've managed to get a good feel of what TACT is about and what the West Midlands team is about. So yeah, as Sammy says, get ringing, get calling, just do it, because you won't regret it. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.